Hey, what's going on, team? Eddie Gray here, that Logic Pro guy. And let's go over video number 2, sampler, channel strip settings, patches, and untagged loops. I've covered this subject on my 2 YouTube channels, and I kind of just wanted to put everything all in one series of videos. So if there's any gaps, you can go visit the other videos. And if there's anything else you want to learn, just let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best to support. But for now, we're going to be looking at your hard drive. There's 2 places where you're really going to find most of your files, under library and under users. This next folder has us looking into audio music apps. And the file path is computer, users, your name, music, audio music apps. A good bulk of the files that you're ever going to need are inside of this folder. Now, one of the interesting things about Logic Pro is if you don't activate certain features and functions, they really won't show up. For example, you can see I have articulation settings here. There's nothing inside, and that's simply because I haven't activated it within Logic Pro. Here I have an instance of Studio Strings, and you can see that we do have articulation settings set up for the instrument, but these are built into the program. The reason you're not seeing anything in here, of course, is because you haven't created articulation settings of your own. So as soon as you decide to do that, you will find those within this folder path. The same goes for bookmarks. Bookmarks are really convenient. I cover them in my other channel, The Modern Creative. But if you don't create a file path, then essentially you're not going to see them. So let me give you an example. If I go to, let's say, my downloads folder, and this is something that I want to access quickly within Logic Pro, if I control click, you can see the prompt to bookmark the downloads folder. And I've already done this, and so this is why I can see this small bookmark icon here. Now, if I click on it, this is where you're going to find your Logic Pro bookmarks. This is great for third-party samples, again, files that you want to access, maybe lyrics, things like that. I have covered channel strip settings and patches within other videos, so I'll link those in the description. So what's interesting about this is not all of these folders are relevant. You have the software instrument channel strip settings, you've got the stereo output channel strip settings, and then you have the audio track channel strip setting folder. The rest of them don't really seem to be relevant. The same goes for patches. This is kind of the new way of saving files, and you can create audio patches, aux patches, instrument patches, and I believe that's it. So again, you're actually not going to see this unless you save it within Logic Pro. So here I have an instrument, and so on the channel strip, I'll go to Setting, and I will save an instrument, EST, and let's go back to that file path, and this is where you're going to see it here. So whether you use this stuff or not, Logic is pretty active and is going to be using a lot of this technology when you work. Custom icons is about making Logic Pro feel like it's your DAW. Let's say I was going to record an external instrument. We could find that under Utility, External Instrument. But I actually wanted a picture of this synthesizer, or maybe it's a singer or something like that. Well, obviously, you would just go to the website. You could go ahead and take a screenshot or do what it is that you do. From there, I'll control click this icon, go into custom icons, and I'll hit the plus symbol, and then I'll go ahead and look for that specific screenshot. In this case, it's the string synthesizer by Waldorf. And now when I look at my track and I expand, you can see that icon here. So just a heads up, you are going to have to convert these files via their own workflow. In other words, you can't just take a random screenshot and then just drop it in here, because it's not going to translate. So if I wanted to change this, again, you're not going to see it in this custom icon window. So databases has to do with how you tag your Apple loops. So that is very important. If something ever goes wrong with your files, let's say some of these are dimmed out for some reason, or maybe you're missing some of your loops, you can simply re-index all loops and that should take care of that. Key commands are important, especially as you become advanced in this program. If you go into this ellipsis and you save as, you can see that I created a Logic Pro key command file. So let's say I go to another studio, or perhaps I buy another computer or laptop. I can simply transfer this file over and continue to work in the way that I'm used to working. So this is all about optimizing workflow and having no interruptions. I've covered plugin settings quite extensively on the channel, so check that out. We covered project templates right before this video. I have another video on sampler, quick sampler. Definitely check that out. If you're curious about the step sequencer settings, when I create a pattern region, we have this unique opportunity inside the pattern browser to save our own patterns and templates. And so if you ever want to do that, you can do it right here, and those files are going to show up there. Why would you want to do something like this? Well, let's say there's a simple pattern that you tend to use quite a bit in your music productions. Well, you can go save that pattern, and then anytime you need that pattern, you can access it immediately. And lastly, your untagged loops. So to circle back to the beginning of our conversation, if I don't activate untagged loops within my Logic Pro software, it's basically not going to show up. So how do I get this to turn on? You basically grab some third-party samples, maybe on an external device, and you just drag them in like this. You're going to get prompted, do you want to add this to the untagged loops folder? And of course, you say yes. So remember, there is a difference between the Apple loops, your user loops, custom Apple loops that you yourself create, and untagged loops that you just drag in from outside of the software. All right, guys, if you have any questions, please let me know. The next video, we're going to cover Apple loops and third-party components.